just waving to the audience in the beginning?
Alrighty. So we should be live now.
Oh.
I'm gonna go.
Looks like we lost Carolyn, actually.
Oh dear.
Hopefully she'll come right back.
Oh,
Carolyn's
dear.
in Africa, I think, right?
Yes, Uganda.
Okay.
Alrighty. I'm gonna go over to the YouTube link because I can't see what's happening.
It is live, just a couple of seconds or minutes buffer.
Excellent. Yeah, it's always a little bit delayed, but Dave is in here and you can see me confused. Hi, Dave. All right. Alrighty. So, of those in the Zoom room, are you over on YouTube as well? Let's make sure we're all set up, and I'll give it a couple of seconds here, and then we will officially start the show. Mary, hi. Greetings indeed. Hello, Gloria from North Forge Angel Network. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to see you here. All righty. So I usually kind of give it 30 seconds or a minute after the hour, after the top of the hour. But good to see you here. Hello, those who are watching, feel free to say your hellos in the chat as well. Cool. All right. Okay, so I think we can get officially started here. And we're gonna just take a couple minutes to introduce ourselves. And, oh, not quite yet, Paul. Kind of jumped the gun. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Amazing. So what I actually like to do first, before we share screen, is I would like to introduce you to those who are in the room here with us today. So I see that we have, unfortunately, one of our pictures has disappeared, so hopefully they will be back with us shortly. And I also see that one of our pictures has a dark screen. I don't know if that's on purpose, Virginia, just so you know that that is the situation, that you have a dark screen right now, so we cannot see your face. All right, awesome. Okay, so as we get started here, I would like to first introduce everyone to our amazing panelists and our amazing pitchers here today. So fantastic. Caroline is back with us. Welcome back into the room. We've just gone live and I'm just introducing you to everyone. So great timing. So everyone who's pitching here today, can you give a wave to the audience here? There we go. We have 5 pitchers from different areas in the world, and when we're introducing them, we'll let you know where they're from. But I'm Melanie Ewan. I'm one of the managing partners and co-founders at Volition, and I'm joining you here from Montreal today. Can I also get a wave from our panelists that are in the room here today? Thank you, thank you. These are your 2 panelists here today. They're going to be providing feedback to our 5 pitchers. Volition team, can you also have a little wave? Yes, so Paul is pulling has 2 roles here today. As I mentioned, my name is Melanie. I'm going to be one of the co-hosts here today, and my esteemed co-host is Barsha, who's also our community and events coordinator. So amazing. All right, so now we can share screen, Paul. Hello, Jeff. Welcome from Vancouver, BC. Great to see you. All right, so that was me just over in the chat, but welcome to today's Amplify live pitch. I have a note about how many we've done here. I believe this is our 8th Amplify of 2021. We started these back in 2020, but our 8th one of 2021. And I wanted to do a shout out to Pivot and Pilot. I'll talk about them a little bit more later, but they've been a really incredible sponsor of ours, and they're also a prize sponsor here today. So really appreciate their support, and I'm just happy that everyone was able to join us here. Whether you're joining us live right now over on YouTube, or you're joining us afterwards, please feel free to jump in the chat. If you haven't already, to introduce yourself, let us know where you're joining from. Even if this is after the fact and you're watching this as a recording, feel free to jump in the chat and jump in the comments and say hello, where you're joining from, and let us know if you have any questions. Next slide, please. Alrighty, so we are Volition. So what we do is we build capacity, connectivity, and knowledge in global startup ecosystems. So while we started off in Vancouver and a lot of our teams there, we have grown and have operations across North America as well as in Europe, some areas of Africa, and we're continuing to grow. And how we love to work is with incredible partners in these ecosystems, and we put on educational programming for all of the different startups in our partner networks. We also provide one-on-one coaching or one-to-many coaching, depending on how many people in a startup comes to the coaching, with our advisors in our coaching and our Volition community. So we have about, I think we have 12 different advisors in our community right now that all specialize in a different kind of knowledge gap or pain point that's common for early stage startups up to early to growth stage startups, I should say. And of course, we also put on community events just like this one. So while this is our 8th Amplify event, we have put on, it looks like 109 pitch events total since 2016. Have gotten to know a lot of you who are in the audience. We've gotten to know, looks like, over 6,000 audience members, which is amazing, and seeing over 1,000 pitches at our pitch events here, which is very exciting. So thank you everyone for being in our community. All right, before I jump into our sponsor spotlight, I also wanted to mention that I had mentioned previously that we were born in Vancouver as a company, and I want to mention that we wanted to acknowledge that Volition is founded on the unceded ancestral territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We acknowledge our traditional hosts and extend our gratitude for their graciousness in welcoming us to carry out our work on their land. And on that point, for those in Canada who may know, for those outside may not know, this Thursday is Truth and Reconciliation Day. So that's a time to come together as a country, as different communities, to mourn. A lot of there was many children were found at many lost children were found over the past year, and so to mourn that here in Canada, as well as to educate ourselves on the history in this country. So I wanted to mention that here today. Before I go on to talking about our generous sponsors, so I wanted to create a space for that. So I do want to thank our generous sponsor, however, that I already mentioned, but Pivot and Pilot have been a great supporter of ours. So they work in food, beauty, and wellness. They work with food, beauty, and wellness brands to help them stand out and capitalize on their first impression. So they do e-commerce solutions, packaging, as well as packaging design and branding in general. They worked with Volition over the past year and a half or so to help us with our own kind of branding rebrand, and we really appreciate their support. Please do check them out. You can head over to pivotandpilot.com or to any of the social channels there and check out at Pivot and Pilot. So thank you to them. Okay, what to expect here today? It won't be me talking the whole time, I assure you, but what we are going to have here is we're going to have these introductions that I'm doing currently. Then we'll introduce our panelists. We'll kick off the pitches. The pitchers each have 3 minutes, and then they're gonna have about 5 minutes of feedback each. We'll then have an audience vote. So we'd love if you can stay until the audience vote, get onto a system that we use called Buzz It, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And you're gonna be able to choose your top pitch for the day, who will get certain kind of prize sponsors. And then we will wrap up. So that's your next 90 minutes of your life. All right. Is anyone else in the Volition team? Do you want to jump on and let's hear your voices? There you go, Barsha.
I'll go ahead. So for everyone who's in the audience, please feel free to engage in the chat. Whether you're here to cheer for one of the pitchers or all of them, or you're just here to learn more about their startups and the event itself, the chat is your opportunity. Like, this is your space to connect and even provide feedback for them. And if you want to learn more about the pitchers and sponsors, you can go over to buzzit.ca and enter the Amplify September key, or you can just scan the QR code that you can see on screen currently. And this will lead you directly to the event page where you will be able to see the pitchers and sponsors profiles. So you will be able to learn more about them, who they are, what their organizations do, but also how to connect more. And this is also where you're going to go to vote after all the presentations. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And if ever you're sharing anything today, make sure to tag us at This Is Volition. And also ensure that you're using the hashtag Amplify Live Pitch so that we can see all of your posts.
Great, thank you, Varsha. All right, so our top pitch rewards here today that will be from your audience vote. We have a top pitch reward from Volition, that's us. So we're going to provide an Instagram live interview as well as a blog feature to the top pitch. If you're not familiar with our IG live interviews, those also exist on our YouTube channel as well as on our Instagram or IGTV. And essentially every week we interview a different founder from the community, and we do a 30-minute chat to understand kind of what their origin story is, what they've learned as entrepreneurs, tips they can share, just a bit more about their journey. So it's really, I get to do those. I have the privilege of getting to do those every week, but we are going to also be inviting Varsha to come on and start doing those alongside me as well, which is fantastic. Get more Volition voices out there. Yay! Very exciting. We'll also have an advisory session with a managing partner for the top pitch. That's myself or Paul. I've already introduced you to Pivot and Pilot. They have very kindly contributed a brand strategy session and marketing SWOT analysis to the top pitch here today. Alrighty, so I promised it wouldn't just be me talking. So today we have our panelists, and I would like to invite them up to say a few words, to introduce themselves to you. We have Evelyn Serda, who's the chapter president at Valhalla Angels in Saskatchewan. And of course, we have Paul Broussard, a co-founder and managing partner at Volition. So I'm gonna introduce I can't remember if we usually do Paul first or our guest speaker first, but Evelyn, I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to say a few words.
Thanks, Melanie, and hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. Yeah, so like Melanie mentioned, I am the chapter president at Valhalla Angels for Saskatchewan. What I do there, I work with the companies on the deal screening part. I work with the investors. I basically facilitate the introduction of early stage companies to potential investors. And yeah, I've been working with entrepreneurs for about 10 years now in different capacities as business advisor, and then now in an access to capital capacity. And I love to pitch coach our companies as well. So I'm very excited to be here today and listen to your pitches. And yeah, good luck, everybody.
Amazing. Thank you, Evelyn. All right, Paul.
Hello, everybody. Yes, thank you. So hello, everybody. Yeah, I mean, my name has been said a few times. So I'm Paul. I'm one of the managing partners and co-founders at Volition, and have the honor of getting to work with Melanie and the team. In addition to that, I am also the co-founder and COO of a company called Straws and Stuff, where we recognize that you can't change human behavior. So we're replacing all of the products that restaurants and cafes use, including straws, utensils, packaging, containers, cups, lids, all that kind of stuff, with fully biodegradable from nature back to nature products, such as reed straws and wooden utensils and coconut wood bowls, things like that. I'm also the COO of a company called Bucky, where we are creating a mobile game app that rewards people for their movement with NFTs and cryptocurrency. So, and also a father of 3 and teach at 3 schools. So there's a recurring number there somewhere, I think.
So you just have a couple of things on your plate is what I'm hearing. Alrighty, so just a quick shout out to some people in the audience I see have shared where they're from. We have audience members joining from Vancouver, from Toronto, from London who've introduced themselves here. If you just joined now, I see we've had a couple more people come in. Feel free to say hello and let us know where you're joining from.
And I guess I should have said that I'm also a master pitch and presentation coach and have lots of experience with pitching. Oh,
that's why you're here. All right. I guess you can stay. Alrighty. Next slide, please. All right. So here we have it. We have our 5 Pitchers are 5 companies that are going to be presented here today. As I mentioned, they'll have 3 minutes to pitch. We're going to get to learn a little bit more about them, which is amazing. They're from different areas in the world, and we will introduce them as such. So without further ado, let the pitches begin. And I'll hand this over to Barsha to introduce our pitchers.
All right, so I'm just gonna go over the names first very quickly. So we have Jairo Hamberzumian from LearnKey. We have Tanvi Gupta from Swoon Me Dating, Caroline Kamia from I Am Native, Virginia Wong from EOK Tutor, and Stephanie Henderlin from Mungara Apothecary. I hope I said it right. So without further ado, we're gonna jump right into the pitch presentations. First up, we have Jairo Hamberzumian from LearnKey. As Melanie mentioned, Jairo is from Fort McMurray currently. So just a quick little introduction to LearnKey. LearnKey is an online learning portal that connects learners and coaches in one-on-one live video sessions. So over to you, Jairo.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation, and thanks everybody for being here today. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay.
And if all the other pitchers could please turn off their video at this time. Panelists can stay on, but pitchers, please. Yes, amazing.
Okay. Here we go. So my name is Jairo, and I'm the founder of LearnKey, your exclusive classroom of one. For a very long time now, people are using a century-old approach when teaching. One person is teaching 20, 40, sometimes hundreds of students, telling them the same thing and expecting the same progress to produce another brick in the wall. We often forget that learners are unique individuals with their own backgrounds and life experiences, various levels of knowledge, learning styles, paces, and goals. Even with today's technologies, boring video courses, dull webinars are not able to address uniqueness when teaching. They are made for even bigger crowds. There's no motivation and no interaction. That's why we created LearnKey, a global online marketplace that easily connects you to online instructors that will provide a customizable and personalized learning experience in your exclusive classroom of one. We launched LearnKey as an MVP to test out the waters and see how our potential users would interact with the platform and with each other. What functionalities will be required? After a year with interviews and customer feedback, we launched a newly redesigned website mid-August 2021. We're using a classic marketplace model where we charge a 20% transaction fee. And unlike our competitors, we split this fee between the learner and an instructor, not to be too big of a burden on the instructor side. On the market side, online education and tutoring market was already growing. And with COVID, it got another boost and is estimated to reach $375 billion by 2024. We looked at our competition and we divided it in 2 groups. Platforms that offer video courses and a wide variety of subjects on one side, and online tutoring websites that provide the live and interactive experience but are limited to languages and tutoring subjects. And we're planning to merge the best of the 2 worlds, interactive and personalized learning with the wide variety of subjects. This is our journey. It doesn't really reflect all the pains and the emotions we went through, but we launched our landing page in 2019, and by May had 1,400 signups from people that showed interest in the service. In June 2020, we launched the MVP and it went live, and our first sale was in July 2020. By February, we had $2,000 in sales, lots of lessons that helped us build our product. We launched it 3 weeks earlier. Our team, the co-founders, have an average of 18 years of management and execution experience in various areas like sales and marketing, international finance, energy, oil and gas, and tech enterprises. Our tech co-founder launched 2 successful startups. And we are here today to make new friends and network with you. We're looking for coaches, mentors, and investors who will share our journey to make online learning better. Thank you.
Thank you, Jairo. Appreciate it. I'm gonna have a couple of questions for you after you get your feedback, but at this time, I would love to pass this over to Paul to start us off.
Shoot, I was hoping you were going to start with Evelyn because I'm actually still digesting the pitch. I'm just going to start. The only thing that I'll say to start, and maybe I'll pass the baton to Evelyn to see what she has to say and then maybe come back to me. I was just going to say that I thought it was a really great kickoff, like really good pitch. One piece of feedback I might have is just to try to slow down just a little bit, maybe try to find a couple breath moments. But I still have to kind of think about it. So I'm going to flip it over to Evelyn.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, Jairo. Really good job today. You did really good. I'm going to disagree with Paul. I think your pace was pretty good. Your cadence was good. And I could actually, like you were, like your words were like well spent, your time, right? So I thought it was good. I don't think you needed to slow down, but I don't know, Paul has a different opinion. I would say your solution, when you describe it, maybe can be a little bit more simplified, so I can like really just like quickly understand, right? Like you said it, like you introduced it pretty well, but with a lot of words still. So I think that could be simplified a little bit more. And then the new design that you presented looks really good. And, you touched in a lot of good points that I need as a 3-minute pitch, right? That it'll get me the second meeting that we always talk about. My one suggestion for you would be, you're going against some like big players here, right? So my one suggestion would be like, make it a little bit more clear on how you are different from anybody else. Because I think the quadrant that you have right now, it's okay. But if there's maybe a better graphic to indicate like what your uniqueness and differentiation factor is, I think that will give me a better picture rather than just logos everywhere, right? Because quadrants work in a lot of the times, but I think in your case, maybe you need a little bit more of this is how we're different type of thing. So that's my feedback, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that I had you go because now you actually kind of nailed into what was kind of, the term is not bothering me, but there was just something that I was like, there's something, but I just can't put my finger quite on it. And to be clear, I wasn't saying that you need to be like really slow like this. I just it was like literally just a tad and time for a couple breaths, just because I thought it was like there was no room. I think that was why I had trouble at the end, because there's no room for me to digest any of the information. So I needed the moment afterwards to kind of go, okay, so what just happened? Okay. So the one thing I think that might really help, talking about what Evelyn just said, is maybe a great way to approach this would maybe be going in from a customer user story standpoint. So like, for example, maybe I missed this as who your target user is, because I don't know if it's kids or if it's teenagers or adults or young adults or whatever, but whoever that is, like, let's use the example of like, let's say Melanie wanted to learn a thing, but she doesn't necessarily want to sit in the classroom full of a whole bunch of people, and instructors are tired of always having, I like the idea of like, I'm a teacher myself and expecting the same result from all the students. Not all of them learn the same, blah, blah, blah. So I get that, but I think there might be a way of telling that as a story and then saying, so Melanie could go to Udemy or she could go to this one or that one, but LearnKey is a better option because unless this is more from strictly from the instructor standpoint, then tell that story as to why they wouldn't just switch to Udemy or Digital Academy or like one of those. So that was where I agree with Evelyn, where we could simplify the solution, but I think you could do that by telling maybe just a bit more of a user customer story standpoint, and then how that that can be worked into the differentiation part. Otherwise, I thought it was good because I think then what you could do is continue the story to say, so then each instructor, gets paid this much. Melanie pays, well, I think it's the other way around. Melanie would pay this much. The instructor makes this amount. And so we've already got X amount of users, and now we're scaling that up with our new platform, something along those lines. So you're like, that was my trouble, is like, you're almost there, but it's just like, just this much off. So yeah, cool.
Thanks for the good feedback.
Yeah, so trying out a bit of a customer story, especially since you work with people and it's all about people. I mean, even your background right now, there's someone on a screen and someone teaching. So it's all about people. Fantastic.
I love the branding,
I also really,
by the way. I was just going to say, I love the branding, by the way. Yeah, I think it's really cool.
I really appreciated, yeah, it's on your t-shirt. I really appreciate also that on your customer journey, just the little thing about like, this doesn't reflect all of the like ups and downs of the entrepreneur journey, but I just appreciate that because it's so real. And we always see those kind of graphs around like, this is what it looks like, but this is how it felt. I thought that was fun. So I also wanted to mention that we want to congratulate Jairo here today because I know that you've just launched your new redesigned website and you've moved from MVP to product. So congratulations, very big and exciting win. Love it. So I also wanted to ask, as this is an Amplify event, we like to ask every founder, what is one thing that we, your community and audience could do to help amplify your business?
So as you mentioned, we just launched. So if everybody will spare 5 minutes to go on the platform, go through and see something wrong, something confusing, something big, and get us some feedback, what can be better or smoother, we'll be really thankful. And it will help us improve the service for the users, for you, for everyone.
Fantastic.
That's right now.
Great. All right. So check out learnkey.com, and that's LRNkey.com. You can also find LearnKey on Facebook, Instagram, looks like Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, all the things. And it's LearnKey or learnkey.com on each one of those. So it's fairly easy to find them. And if someone, was that?
And TikTok.
And TikTok, okay. And TikTok, we'll have to learn from you. I haven't tried it yet. So if someone wanted to connect directly with you here today, Jairo, what would be the best place for them to get in touch with you?
You can either contact us on the website with a contact us page, or you can send me a direct email at jairo@learnkey.com, the same way as it's spelled on the screen, HAYRO@learnkey.com.
Fantastic. All right. And over on YouTube, I want to give a shout out. Someone has said, thumbs up, great pitch. And we have a comment, the more familiar you are with your pitch, the more natural rhythm and cadence you will have with it, which is an interesting point because people always ask, can you be over practiced? And in my opinion, no, because if you practice enough, then you can do it in lots of different ways and you won't get thrown off by anything. So I think that's a great point. Thank you to Gloria who made that in the audience. All righty. Thank you, Jairo.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. It was a pleasure.
I look forward to seeing Jairo's TikTok dance.
I'll make one for you, Paul. On my OnlyFans.
All right, so moving on to our next pitcher, we're welcoming Tanvi Gupta, who is all the way from San Francisco. So Tanvi is the founder and CEO of Soon Me Dating, which is a voice-first dating app meant to eliminate superficial dating through sound bites and avatars. Over to you, Tanvi. You're on mute.
Thank you, Barsha. Hi, everyone. My name is Tanvi Gupta, founder and CEO of Soon Me Dating, also ex-Facebook, and I'm working on fixing our superficial dating app. So Soon Me, audio-first avatar dating app, not just another dating site, but a dating app that engages your senses. So what is Soon Me? Audio-first dating platform where users can make personality-based intimate connections by shifting their focus on listening to each other's voices and what they have to say about themselves rather than just focusing on profile photos. And this is the new relationship app for Gen Z and millennials. So right now, there are several pain points in the current online dating market. And the biggest one being the single decision-making factor is looks and photos, which is not really normal when looking for long-term relationships. And these pain points are common to all mainstream dating apps, and SoonMe aims to solve these top problems in the dating space. We want to get away from superficiality. We want to make it a more private space for people and to express themselves and also feel safe. And we also want to help people have those meaningful conversations that are so fundamental in starting any relationship. So these are the key differentiating features that stand out from the rest of the apps, which is avatars, sound bites, audio rooms, which are really the first to market in audio first dating space. Avatars, we let people generate avatars from their profile photos, which can be revealed as two people get to know each other. We give them a question bank where people can play engaging icebreaker audio games, and of course, express themselves via their sound bites. So our business model and go-to-market strategy. SoonMe is going to be a lot cheaper than mainstream apps like Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. For example, Bumble is charging users $18 a week, and we will be charging much less, more like $10 a month for a freemium model. Right now, SoonMe is a free app because we just launched in July, but we will be looking to monetize by mid next year. Our go-to-market strategy, so far, our user growth has been purely organic, and we will continue driving growth by leveraging non-traditional channels along with paid marketing. So we've had great traction with customers. User feedback has been tremendously positive, and we have average of 10 sessions per day per user, and we have over 1,300 plus user signups. Competition, SoonMe is the first to market in the audio dating space with a modern twist on profile photos that are avatars and interest-based dating audio rooms. Existing mainstream apps can add audio features, but they cannot brand themselves as audio-first platforms, unlike SoonMe, which will focus on and is focusing on audio-first interactions.
Time's up.
Okay, so, and that gets me to my last slide. The ask is that we are looking for $1 million seed funding. I have invested $50K of my own personal money into the startup and have raised seed funding so far, but we do need more money to grow our user base and actually, build revenue generating features. And this is how it's going to be utilized. We are targeting Series A by mid next year, and then we will start monetizing at the beginning of 2022. You can read a lot about us here on multiple news publications. We got published on TechCrunch and kind of got viral in US and Europe and Asia. And then this is, we have about 10 people on the team. And right now I am ex-Facebook, and our CTO is ex-tech lead at mainstream companies, Samsung, Grofers, and Expedia.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty. So we're just going to, oh, I'm no longer the host. Can you please stop sharing your screen?
Sure.
Thank you. All right. Amazing. Fantastic. And we have people in the chat commenting and asking questions about possible synergies with Clubhouse and such. So I'll just drop that right now. Thanks to our friend Dave in the chat. Great job. And I know you did go a little bit over time, and it can be disruptive to hear that little note of 30 seconds and you're done. So well done for dealing with that. Of course, as you know, we are very kind here, but in forums, not so much. So you will get cut off right on time. So being aware of, it sounded like you were maybe about a minute over time at the end. Is that right, Barsha?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it was a 4-minute pitch. So being aware of that little piece. And we would have loved to have seen the team. So we would have lost so much if we hadn't seen that minute. Anyways, I'm not the feedback panelist here. So I will hand this over because Paul gave it up last time. I'm handing it to Evelyn first to go ahead.
Thanks, Melanie. Hi, Tanvi. Really good job. Very interesting app. So I have a couple notes for you. I think obviously you run out of time, and I could see that when you were given the 30-second mark, you started like spitting up, and that was like all the good stuff that we wanted to hear about. So just keep in mind that like you just spend quite a bit of time at the beginning on the problem and solution, when like I feel like you have the advantage that it's what you are solving is very relatable, very easy to understand. And so you could probably condense that a little bit more. It was a bit redundant, right? Like, because you said it like a few times at the beginning. I think you can get that out of the way quickly. And then so you can get to your ask, because you always want to make sure you get to your ask, especially if you are actually raising money. And then the team, obviously very important. So yeah, I think, yeah, you did a good job. That would be my suggestion. There was a few slides there that you didn't need to go through in a 3-minute pitch, like the go-to-market strategy is important, but it was a big table. So just give me like the 3 key points that you're thinking of, maybe a couple like graphics or your users or whatever. I like that you're specified that you're focusing on Gen Z and millennials. So this is not for everybody, right? But then, yeah, just make sure you get to your ask and just kind of like polish that beginning a little bit. But good job. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try not to just say the same thing that Evelyn did, because she said it really well. But yeah, I think that to expand on that, I'm hoping this is expanding on it, but essentially, I don't think you need to go through. I think we all get the challenge with the current dating apps, right? Whether or not we're doing it currently. I mean, my wife's sitting right over there, so I obviously I'm not going to say that I'm using them. But the reality is like, I think we all get that it's like visual based. Right away it makes me think like of the voice, but for dating, right? And I think like she was saying, I think you can just quickly get that out of the way of like, the problem with the current dating apps is, and then get to the real meat of the sandwich, so to speak, or for vegetarians in their own tofu or whatever you prefer. And really concentrate. What I think is really important for you is that you have some traction, or early traction. And like for me, if I'm listening to this, because right away, from an investor perspective, one of the things I think of right away is, doubt, right? So it's like, oh, huge industry. How do you compete? How could you ever go against the big guys, as it was? But if you get straight into like, look, we have an amazing team, because I wish we had heard more about that, because I'd love to know more about your background, the team's background, who's behind this, because that's what I'm kind of investing in at this stage, right? Is my belief in you and your capability to win the race, so to speak. And the traction part, which I would have loved to hear more. I know you talked about it, but really kind of, that's the stuff that I really want to hear about, because that means that you're making it happen, right? So that would be what I would say to that regard.
Thank you. Really great feedback.
I think Evelyn has another comment.
Melanie, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't gotten a side eye from Barsha yet. Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to build on something that Paul mentioned, and talking about your competitors. Obviously, there's big players here. I just want to caution you to, when you talk about like your competitors, you mentioned that you were cheaper than the options out there right now, and that's not something that you don't want to play that race to the bottom, right? So it's okay. Then right now you are testing your market, and a lot of people, that's a strategy, right? Like you start with a reasonable price because you're not well known. But I would make sure that that's not your main differentiation factor as a new app, right? Just make sure that you don't put a lot of focus, because that's what I took away, is like, oh, they're just cheaper. So like, what else is unique to you, right? The audio and all that stuff, I think that's better explained than just like, we're cheaper than Tinder and whatnot. So yeah, I just wanted to suggest that.
Yep, thank you. That's a great point.
Yeah, based on value, not on price.
Yep.
Alrighty. So there's also people in the chat that I encourage you to go check out what they're talking about. They have questions for you. They're obviously excited and intrigued by your pitch and asking lots of questions and asking for your contact details. So we'll get that in just a moment. But otherwise, I wanted to also provide kudos to Tanvi and to SwoonMe for, I hear that you are producing an audio first dating show for real SwoonMe daters in partnership with Spoon Radio, and that you aired your first episode last week, Wednesday, and have your next 2 episodes scheduled for the next 2 weeks at Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Is this on your YouTube, or where can people watch this?
So it's on Spoon. You can see all the details on our website. So the Sooners actually, you have to be a Sooner to be on the show, but you can obviously listen into the show, and it's at 6 p.m. PST today.
Okay, amazing. All right. Well, congratulations on that. That's a big win. Nicely done.
You need to include that in your pitch.
Yes, yes, I do need to include that.
Where was that?
It's exciting, gets me interested. Yeah, very cool. All right, so being Amplify event, again, what can we as your audience and community do to help amplify your business?
Single people, please do download SwoonMe. It is different than everything that's out there. It's so much fun. So we would love to, get users and then talk about us on social media, and then also, love to get access to investors, because we're actively raising funding to expand our run rate here. So thank you.
Fantastic. All right. And if people want to connect with you directly, how can they do so?
So they can email me, Tanvi, at swoonmedating.com. I'm on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And also we have our details on the website as well.
Okay, great. All right. So I'm hoping that answers the questions that I'm seeing in the chat. We also have people asking about if other ventures have tried this before. We have Dave saying this feels like a space for some real interesting social science, and talking a little bit about that. So do check out those comments. And otherwise, for those who are interested, go to swoonmedating.com. You can also find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at swoonmedating. So thank you so much, Tanvi, for being here. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So our next speaker is Caroline Kamya. Caroline is the founder of I Am Native, a freelance service platform for professional African media crew and associated creatives. So over to you, Caroline.
Hi there. Okay, ready to do my presentation. I'll go straight for it. Okay. All right, see the presentation?
Yeah, just need to go full screen with it, if you can. Beautiful.
Are you able to see it?
Oh, it was for a second, and then it popped back to not being full screen. I don't know if that's, I feel like we maybe had this problem with other people using this app. So
are you able to see it anyway?
Yeah, we can see it. We can just see all of your other slides on the side. But we can ignore those if it's
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Hello, my name is Caroline Kamya. I'm a filmmaker and entrepreneur with over 17 years of experience in media in Europe and Africa as a buyer and seller of content and production services. Currently, if you want to film in Africa, you'd have to fly over a crew such as producers, directors, camera people, and that's expensive. And it takes time to organize or go for risky referrals online. And since Africa is becoming one of the largest creative communities in the world, it's a pity that very few can actually access global marketplaces. So, what have we done? We've created Native, a first of its kind global freelance service marketplace for top-end African crew and aligned media creatives, where you can not only buy and pay for their services, but also their content, all in one space, saving time and money. What we provide is high quality content at a fast turnaround, which is safe, secure, and payments are direct to mobile wallets for ease. If we look at the global film production spend, in 2020, it was $220 billion US. In Africa, it was $6.5 billion US. So we have a sum of 300 million upwards US dollars. And when we look at our current competition, they've actually not really looked at this market. We offer a way to solve a lot of pain points well beyond our competition. Now, after launching just last month, we have 300 plus creatives in 4 countries ready to work. And this is quite exciting because our commission-based strategy and business model means that we retain 20% and 30% on bespoke productions, which are multi-country and multi-crew. Our team, 8 members of the Native partners and advisors, range from BBC executives, a couple of BAFTA award nominees, and startup specialists, as well as a legal expert. Our timeline and go-to-market strategy is to start in Uganda, where I'm based, and go region by region, capturing Africa within 5 years. And we anticipate steady growth over that period, reaching close to 2 million in sales in 2025. We already have 3 early stage investors on board and are in discussion with 2 more. And our ask is for $250,000 US for operations, maintenance, and R&D. So when you choose to work with local crew, your brand benefits immediately, both creatively and financially. Working with us becomes part of the story, and we're ready. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Caroline. Alrighty.
Hi.
So hi, thank you. I know you've been here before, and there was like things going on with a pre-recorded pitch. I'm so glad that you were able to be here and to deliver this again for us. Really appreciate it. It was really cool to see the evolution of from the last time we saw it as well. All right, so Paul, I know you've seen this one before, but because I haven't gone to you first yet, sort of, kind of, would you like to jump in first? I'll give you the option.
So I'm going to pass that. No, I'm just kidding.
Never going first again.
Okay, so I have seen it before, but not, I think not live like this. And I do want to say really quickly, it's so cool to have you with us, Carolyn, from Uganda. Honestly, when Melanie and I started doing these pitch events in January 2016, we started them in a little city in the Vancouver area called Burnaby. Well, it's not so little anymore, but never in a million years would have thought we would have pictures from other countries like Uganda and stuff. So this is really cool for me. In regards to the pitch, a couple little things that I picked up on, and for the most part, I have to say it was really good. So I don't want you to think that like I want to preface that before giving you the feedback, because I don't want you to think, oh, he's giving me this feedback, it means it's bad. That's not it at all. It was good. So these are little bits that I picked up on. Is one, to make the ask just a little bit more powerful, I feel like it might be good to have Sorry, in the 250, I think you said something about that you already have a couple of investors that have they already gone in, or they're committed, or they're soft commits?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
and answer that.
both.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you have anything raised, I would just maybe put something like that on the screen, just because I love that little visual when I'm looking at this as an investment opportunity. I just like that little visual indicator of like, we're raising 250K, but we've already closed 100, right? In case the reason I say that is I've just found myself over the years, in case you run out of time for some reason, it's nice to have that on the slides, that then I see it in case you didn't have time to say it, right? And it's just another good visual indicator. The second one, that along with the ask, I would love if that was just a little bit more specific as to what it's going to achieve. Just a little bit more. Like, I know you listed a bunch of things like R&D. Like the default answer for most people is sales, marketing, R&D, right? Our ask is going to achieve these three things. Yeah, sure. But I would just love to see how that's tiled to the milestones, right? So one of the ones we give a tip to for a lot of our companies, this might not be the case for you, but a lot of clients that we work with is like, will your ask achieve break even? Will it get you to profitability? Will it get you your next 5 customers, or whatever it might be, right?
Got you.
And then the last key point that I wanted to point out was I get that you're like in market, you're getting clients. Maybe I missed it. I would love to hear specifically who's hiring you. Like who is the exact person that's paying for your services? Like, is it, I started thinking to myself, well, is it Netflix? Is it Amazon Prime? Is it, or is it like European studios? Because I know a lot of European studios now are kind of moving into Africa and doing a lot of filming there. So I just would have loved to hear specifically who that is. All right. Melanie's giving me this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for reading my signal. I'm going to pop over to Evelyn.
He never starts first, but when he does, he has lots to say. Hi, Carolyn. Really good. I'm gonna also say congratulations. That's a really good pitch. And I like that you took your time with it, right? So many times, because it's a 3-minute pitch, people want to cram so much information. So you did a very good job on selecting key pieces. I'm gonna say I love that from like the get-go you introduce yourself and like your experience in the space, because that to me it already puts me in a specific mindset that like, okay, so she knows what she's doing, right? Versus then you complement that with the team slide that you had, and so she also has a good team with her, so that was really good. Again, I thought you maybe spent a little bit too much on the problem, right? Because you kind of like scan through the competition and timeline and business model quicker than you should have, I think. But then you spend a lot of time at the beginning, right? So I would be curious to hear about, like your competition, like where are they based? Are they like based in Africa also? Is that their focus market? Sort of like a little bit more understanding behind the competitors. On the market, because you sell it as a freelance for media people, is it just the film industry? Because that's the market you're providing me, but then like, how can you position that market information better? That is not super niche, right? Even though it's a big market, like, it's not too niche. I wish you would have spent a little bit more time on the timeline, because I just kind of like feel like I missed it. And then on your ask, I would say, can you make sure you specify if it's USD or Canadian dollars, or the currency? Because like even today, like we've seen some USD, some Canadian, and then it's just nice to know what that is being raised. And like Paul said, if you already have secure investors, like, or even if it's your own money from the team, make sure you mention it, because we like to hear that you have some skin in the game, or that someone else believes in this and they're already like put some money towards it. So yeah, I was just, and then just because you are pitching to us in Canada, if there's anything strategic or anything else besides, like just raising the money, that would be interesting to know, right? Because you are, Melanie's cutting me off. Okay, yeah, that was just kind of like my feedback on the ask slide. So, but congratulations, good pitch.
Yes,
Thank you
absolutely.
very much.
Over on YouTube, also, there's some questions and conversation saying that your pitch was gorgeous. Really like that you established your cred up front with your 17 years in the business. And then people concurring with Paul and Evelyn saying, yes, absolutely, show how much you've already raised of what you're raising, and that it'll inspire confidence in other investors to invest. And there's a couple questions in there for you as well that we won't dive into right now. So if you want to head over to the YouTube page, then you'll be able to connect with people there. Alrighty, so I also wanted to again provide kudos. Got kudos for all the founders here today, which is great. So as I think was mentioned in the pitch to an extent, the team at I Am Native have connected with 3 early stage investors who are interested in supporting innovations in African tech and creativity, which is fantastic to hear. And they've also won a recent prize at ZD Circle's boot camps for diaspora entrepreneurs. ZD Circle is one of our partners. And so it's great to see that, Caroline, that you had won that recent prize. Amazing. And also that you've gained 2 new early stage investors, as was mentioned. So congratulations on all accounts there. Lots of good news. And I've been seeing your name come up a lot on the ZD Circle social channels, so that's been exciting. So how can we, as your audience and community here today, help amplify your business?
Well, definitely it would be good to have introductions to angel investors and VCs, and also organizations test us out as well, test out our creatives. So if you've got any little shoots you need done in Africa, or you want diverse content, then check us out, test us out. It would be great to get the feedback.
Fantastic. All right, so people in the audience can check out iamnative.com or on Instagram Native Platform. I'm going to ask you one more question, which is, if people want to connect directly with you, how might they do that?
Caroline at iamnative without an e.com. iamnative without an e.com. Track me down there, or Instagram Native Platform.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Caroline. All righty. Over to you, Barsha.
Amazing. So we're going to go to our next speaker, who is Virginia Wong from Toronto, Canada. Virginia is the co-founder of EOK Tutor, which is a tutoring institution for grades 5 to 12 and university students in STEM to help them enter the world of opportunities. So over to you, Virginia.
On mute. Hi. Am I good now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So I'm going to kickstart with a personal story. At a young age, I had anxiety in my math classes, but that completely changed when my math tutor, Jeff, who created customized lessons and exercises for me to prepare for my tests. But what does that mean for Jeff? He worked long hours to create those worksheets and exercises while also managing other administrative tasks. Turns out he isn't alone. 90% of the time, tutors have spent too much time creating worksheets and often running out of resources. It is also difficult to customize lesson plans because it's given the curriculum is either stale or poorly organized, and worksheets not effective since they cannot provide instant feedback. To empower tutors, we created EOK Arcade, an interactive online platform where tutors can easily create effective assessments, customize a study path, assign a library of exercises, as well as tracking their progress. With just a few clicks, a tutor can simply add a particular exercise into a student's profile to master that skill, significantly saving time and energy. On the other hand, students are laser focused on the given task and can receive instant feedback as they go, unlike worksheets or online math games where they feel stuck or distracted. This collected data is then translated into reviewing and teaching guidance to help the tutors to identify more learning gaps. How are we doing this? We know that learning is not one size fits all, and this is a key ingredient to our teaching philosophy. We created a curriculum path for any students to advance or revisit prerequisites whenever they need. We're not here to digitalize the class, but to revolutionize how math should be taught. The global private tutoring market is huge, and the pandemic has really accelerated that. Our SOM is 480 million USD, targeting tutors who want to impact their students' life, teaching in a small classroom environment, and also willing to adapt to ed tech. I'm super excited to share that we made a tremendous progress since this year's March, from research to beta testing. In the upcoming months, we will leverage our tech partner Innovar from Peru to connect to our local students and tutors, tap into established community and onboard more testers. Then we will collect their feedback and integrate more math content. Once we have enough content, we will commercial launch where tutors pay a monthly subscription base. We are asking for more beta users here to try our platform and advisors in the education and technology field to grow EOK Arcade. Jeff, once my tutor, now co-founder, and I are both graduated from the math faculty at the University of Waterloo. Our diverse skill sets in business, tech, and education, combined with mutual trust, we are a 1 + 1 = 3 team. Our vision is to empower every tutor and students to go beyond their capabilities. Remember, a high-quality tutor leave a lasting impact on their student, just like how Jeff motivated me to become more. Math is just the beginning. Imagine all the STEM-related academics EOK Arcade can unlock. We're passionate about this cause, and we hope you can be part of our journey. Thank you.
Alrighty, fantastic. There's a lot of chat going on over at YouTube. So, yep, that's what it's called, YouTube. So I got distracted for a moment there. And some questions. I think there's a question for you. I think so. There's a few questions, people saying it's interesting, and this might come up in feedback, or maybe the panelists can support on this. For not just you, but a few of our other pitchers here today, it seems to be kind of crowded markets. How do you differentiate yourselves, especially in a pitch, is a question that's over on YouTube. So curious if our feedback panelists felt this about this one, and if you have any ideas for addressing that. Do either of you really want to go first? I'll give you the choice this time. And if not, I'm just
I can go first. I can go first. Paul was really hesitating there. So hi, Virginia, really good job. And so I have a couple notes for you. I thought it was a good pitch. You do speak fast, so we need you to slow down a little bit. Just because, and you have a lot of good information, but it's almost like bam, 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 bam. And then it's just like, don't give us the opportunity to digest what you're saying, right? So make sure that especially after you go through a slide that has like a good achievement, a good information that you need us to remember, take a 2-second pause and breathe, and then like continue, right? So that's just a tip, especially for, I sometimes speak really fast too, so I have to be mindful about it. And yeah, I would echo the questions on the chat on, ed tech is pretty hot right now. We've seen a lot of online learning, tutor support type of companies. I did have a question like from the beginning, it's like, oh, this is just math specific. So what is your uniqueness there? Like, what's your, like your unfair advantage that you have here with your platform? If you have that, I would recommend to mention that. You do mention post-pandemic. I think we're still kind of like going through it, but there is gonna raise the question of, okay, so is this pandemic driven? Like what happens after, right? So I don't know if you want to necessarily like put the light spot on that. I like that you have some growth. This goes for everybody that has some users sign up. As soon as you say that, I'm gonna raise the question on, okay, are they actually engaged as they just sign up and then never used it? So if you have some information on how your users that sign up are actually using the platform, that would be great, right? If you tell me, you know, we have 100 plus and, you know, like 80% of them use it every day, like that would be a great stat to throw at me for sure. Great on your team. I can tell it's pretty small right now. So maybe like give me a one sentence of we're looking to hire like business development sales, because I can see that that's kind of like your gap, and I want to know that you have identified that. But you didn't give an ask, did you? I didn't hear one.
I was asking for more beta testers and advisor to help us out.
Yeah, so I kind of missed it, and this is the challenge that everybody's doing these pitches, especially virtual. Like a fly goes by and I can be distracted and then I miss it. So if I have it on a slide and then I can go back to it, is very helpful, but not if you just like quickly scan through it. So, but yeah, that's just some feedback for you, but good job today.
Thank you. That was really helpful.
Thank you, Evelyn. Over to you, Paul.
Well, it makes me feel positive about my oldest son's future, who struggles at math. But then you said that you did, and then I saw that you have a bachelor in mathematics and are in finance and statistics. And I'm like, that is awesome. So congrats on that turnaround. And I can only hope that my oldest son can turn it around the same way. I'm going to tag on to what Evelyn was talking about there. And, you know, when we're talking about differentiation and competition and all that kind of stuff, like, I mean, I feel like this is a very competitive space, and I only know it because, like I said, my oldest son struggled at math, especially during the real heat of the pandemic last year, when all the kids were at home studying and all that stuff. I think that's where it's a little bit different, because now a lot of the school kids are back in school, but tutoring doesn't go anywhere, right? Like, it's still something that needs to happen and does happen. So what I wonder would be an interesting approach, because my son, we did see a significant improvement because he started using something called Khan Academy. And just the simple fact that he could go back and watch the videos over and over again until he got it. And honestly, even for us, where we were like, we couldn't remember from when we were taught it when we were kids, and we were like, Mom, I need your help with this. And she'd be like, I don't remember this. And then she'd come ask me and I'd be like, and then even they do it differently in some cases than how we learned it. So the fact that we could kind of watch the videos, they gamified it a little bit, like, it was good. It was interesting because for me, what I heard you say was like, oh, we don't do it just like gaming, but then it was like EOK arcade. And there was almost you almost alluded to like, it's kind of gamified, or it's kind of game-like. So I was like, well, is it a game, or is it not a game, or is it gamified, or is it not? So I would love to, keying in what Evelyn was saying, is like, maybe a great approach would be like, at EOK Tutor, we do, you know, there's already these existing ones, might as well attack it to the forefront, right? It's a hot sector. There's already these existing ones. Here's how we do it differently and better, and where we're seeing our immediate traction. And then you can go into some of those usage statistics, which Evelyn keyed in on, which is super important. One thing that threw me off, again, it was very quick. I heard something about Peru.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask about that now, but I just wanted to say that kind of threw me off and I was a bit confused. So I just wanted to point that out, that maybe that's something that doesn't need to be included in a pitch.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much to our feedback panelists. It sounds like that's something you're going to incorporate, that maybe addressing it head on and saying like, this is exactly how we are different, or how we differentiate ourselves. And feel free to jump into the YouTube chat and just tell people there, because they are curious. So just go and speak your mind over there. But in the meantime, I wanted to also provide congratulations to you. I know that you participated in MNP's Next Step program last month and are currently doing your beta testing for the student portal that you have. So that's the exciting news that we're sharing today. Congratulations. So how can we, as your audience and your community, help amplify your business here today?
So if you are a tutor, feel free to reach out to me. We can connect you and sign you up to our beta platform. And you can also follow us on Instagram at EOKTutor or go on our website, eoktutor.com. If you need anything from me, feel free to email me, virginia.wong@eoktutor.com as well. Thank you.
All right. Well, you answered my second question. I did want to mention something I learned about EOK Tutor, which is that EOK stands for Elements of Knowledge. I don't know if you mentioned that in your pitch and I just missed it. It looks like not. So I thought that was fun. I appreciated that you shared that. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. All the places people can connect with you as well. So I will see you soon. Otherwise, head over to YouTube and I'll see you there as well. All right. Over to you, Barsha.
Awesome. So to wrap up, we're now welcoming our final pitcher, Stephanie Henderlin, all the way from North Delta, Canada. So Stephanie is the founder at Mangata Apothecary. So yeah, over to you, Stephanie.
All right, so I'll just try and share my screen. Share screen. Okay, so my name is Stephanie. I'm the founder of Mangata Apothecary, and our tagline is bringing botanicals back. Lots of people get excited and think marijuana. That's not what we're going into, but hang on and I'll explain. So what is Mangata Apothecary? It's a herbal skincare brand, but more than that, it's education. I really want to not only provide a natural skincare brand, but also provide education for people to go about their own backyard and pull in plants that were previously only seen as weeds and make their own stuff. So my background is midwifery and intercultural studies. I've got 2 degrees and I spent 2 years overseas working in very primitive hospitals and rural villages. And I've seen people, medical professionals over there, use basic plants and things that just aren't on our, not in our mind, which are totally useful as medicine. So that's kind of the herbalism aspect. You can see the 2 logos. Our products are Cert Clean because that's a big thing for people in the Western world to know that their products that they're putting on their body is safe. And also Cedars Network, which is a nonprofit run by a midwife friend who's still overseas. Because a big heart of mine is to still give back to people working overseas. So the problem I found was few understand the power of plants. For example, do you guys know that chickweed actually helps with eczema? And do you know that you can eat dandelions? When I first learned about the dandelion part myself, I was really discouraged that my parents hadn't taught me and that none of my friends knew this, and that if we keep going down this track, my kids will just mow them down and never realize the actual medicinal benefits of dandelions. So along with the lack of many clean, trustworthy brands out there, I also realized few people understand herbalism. So my solution was to make herbalism common knowledge through education. We do workshops, we have a do-it-yourself ebook out there, also in print form. And my other solution is make herbalism accessible and effective through the product that Mangata Apothecary creates. And finally, make a clean, eco-friendly brand based on generosity of both knowledge and finances that catches on and is profitable, because I want to stay at home with my kids. So far, we're in about 10 stores. We're in multiple markets, expos, events. We've been asked to speak at some of these events, and we're in subscription boxes, and we have a few drop shipping wholesale platforms. That's
30 seconds.
30 seconds. So my ask is, do you guys have marketing companies that are great to work with? We're trying to get into that area because we have a great product. Now we need to market it. Also connections to luxury or naturopath or natural food stores. We really want to get into those stores. We're in a lot of boutique stores, but we're not finding our ideal clients in those boutique stores. Also referrals for green beauty influencers or naturopaths or doctors that use herbs. And strategic marketing, we're trying to raise $1,500 to implement into our marketing plan every month. I've put a lot of my own funds into it and my family's funds, and now I'm trying to find grants, etc. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I know you have the product there with you. Do you want to show your product for a second there? Well, our
few products here. So a big thing is our herbal balms, which are good for a variety of different skin issues, and loose herbal products. We've got about 30 products. I'm trying to weed it down to about 20.
Cool. All right. So I think Paul, I'm starting with you.
Yes, I will actually start on this one. So my comment to you is I'm very glad that Melanie asked to show the product, because in the pitch, I completely missed that. I was actually, by the end of it, I was a little bit confused as to what the product actually was. Specifically, because I heard you at one point talk about do it yourself, at one point talk about an ebook, at one point talk about some sort of product, but I didn't see any real pictures of the product, and nor did I know that you had 20 to 30 SKUs, right? So that's, I think, super important to be super specific about what the product is that you're selling. And now it's actually led me to a whole bunch of other questions of, like, what's your cost? Like, if we're talking about investor, just for perspective for everyone and for yourself, when you're talking about investor perspective, like, some of the things we start really wanting to know is, what is your cost? What's your margin? How are you selling it? Where are you selling it? You said it's in 10 stores, but then I even was like, what are you selling in 10 stores? What's going in the subscription boxes? I didn't really get that, right? And how you're ultimately making money and what that looks like. So from an investor's perspective. Now, I'm going to make a suggestion to you, because you might be like, well, but Paul, where do I fit all this in? How dare you say all this? Because I have no room for it. What I'm actually going to suggest to you is to cut the whole front. Because what I actually found, like, I don't know about Evelyn or the rest of the audience, but for me, it started off a little bit flat. And where you really started to shine was actually on the slide where it said problem and it had a picture of you. And I don't remember what it said on the slide, but you really you brightened up at that moment, because you were talking about, I think you were talking about the dandelions, and you were talking about, like, that you said something about, like, most people don't know that you could do this with chickweed and dandelions, and like, you really brightened up in that moment, and then the rest of it went much smoother. So my suggestion is start there, right at that point. Like, did you know, like, what a great way of, like, did you know that you could do this with chickweed, and did you know that dandelion has this effect? And, well, that's what we're bringing to you. And then you could get into the product and sales and stuff. That's it. Over to Evan.
Thanks, Paul. Stephanie, I agree with Paul on that. You spent a lot of time at the beginning, and I thought you were addressing already sort of the problem, and then you presented me with the problem. So I'm like, oh, that took her like a full minute that you could have used better, right, for your pitch. I would say, honestly, from an investor's perspective, I don't really care that much if the dandelion is good for whatever reason, right? But I care about the natural products trend and how is that growing and what's the opportunity there. So it's nice that you mention it, because, you know, like, you present yourself very relatable. I think we're all aware that we are disconnected with nature, right? Like, our society is pretty disconnected with that, but we do see a comeback for a lot of, now we're looking for more natural products, more clean stuff. So that's where you need to actually, like, grab onto to be interesting to the investor. And then hit me with, you know, your intent stores, how many products you have. If I'm guessing you already have some revenue, so I want to hear about that, right? Like, your margins, your costs, like Paul mentioned. So I would say, like, spend a little bit more time on that side, right? And you can address upfront, you know, like, what's going on with that without spending too much time. Your experience is important and your story is important for sure. But then, as an investor, and, you know, like, I want to hear about, okay, like, why do I care, And it's like, how am I going to make money if I invest in you, right? What am I supporting, basically? And even like Paul mentioned something about a subscription box. I didn't catch that when you mention it. So if it is a subscription box, make sure that it's very clear, because that triggers a bunch of other questions for me, right? But good job today. I think you made me feel like I was in a spa because you have a very like soothing voice. So I think that's good, and you have a good pace. But I think you can be more intentional about what you're sharing, depending on, like the pitch that you're doing, if it's an investor or if it's a buyer, right? You have to tailor to your audience. But yeah, good job.
Yeah, great point. Yes, and that point, another person mentioning something else you can maybe cut out, because it kind of like, as Evelyn said before, if like a fly comes by, we get distracted. We also get distracted by things on the deck and things that you say that we're like, oh, why is that in there? And we might go off on a tangent. And I guess there was something about midwifery, and someone was saying they were then spending time trying to figure out what the connection was there. So then we're not paying attention to you as we should be, and connecting with you as we should be. So I love that, like being more intentional with what you include in your pitch piece. I think that's wonderful. I think it was great what you brought in. I know we had a lot of actually first-time pitchers here, or had not pitched live here before kind of instances in the room here today. So incredible what everyone, including yourself, that Stephanie has done here. So I know that you showed your product. Wanted to mention that I know you did a recent rebrand and have this lovely new fresh appearance. So congratulations on your rebrand. That's always a big endeavor to get through. So amazing job with that. And Stephanie, what can we as your community and your audience do to help amplify your business?
Yeah, just if you know of boutique stores or natural food stores out there, send me the links or send me the names. That's kind of my big focus, is now getting the product out there into those stores. So yeah, and share on social media. That's always big.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so people can find you on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at, I believe, is it pronounced Mungata?
Yeah.
Mungata Apothecary.
Yeah.
Mungata, but it's Mangata, as you can see on the Zoom title. Also on Twitter at Mungata Apoth, and then mungataApothecary.com. And if people wanted to connect with you directly, how might they do that?
Hello at mungataApothecary.com or
Fantastic. We'll try both. I know it's like to not be able to remember the end of your email address. So do make sure to go over to YouTube as well. There's questions for you, and also kudos that you clearly deeply care about the space that you're in, have committed fully to it. That passion comes through, absolutely. But there's also some questions for you about distributors and CPG and all the things. So please do head on over there. Alrighty, but that was our final pitch for today. So we're going to move on to our voting. So we'll get up on the screen how you can vote. And I know there's still people hanging out with us in the audience. Thank you for staying with us till the end here. We would really appreciate if you head on over to Buzzit, that's buzzit.ca, and put in the event key, which is Amplify September. And then you can vote on your top 3, I think. I can't remember how it does it now. I'm so sorry. You can vote on your top pitches, and it'll calculate all the things, and we'll have our top pitch at the end of that. So we'll make sure to put that into the chat as well over here on YouTube. And in the meantime, we're going to tell you a few more things while you do your voting. Okay, so it's buzzit.ca, and thank you. All right, you can also just use the code on the screen I'm seeing. Okay, all right, so while you're doing that, I want to do a quick shout out to our community partners. We would not be able to get the word out without all of these incredible partners and more. There's lots of people who have supported us along the way. I won't go into all of their names, but we have incredible partners from all over the world here represented on this slide. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, So we want to share our upcoming events with you. First off, we have a weekly IG Live founder chat that we do every Tuesday at 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. EST, and 5 p.m. GMT. Currently on schedule, we have Helena Patience on October 19th. Helena is from Entreflow Consulting Group. Essentially, the founder chats are a 30-minute one-on-one session with Melanie and a founder to really share their work with our network. So if you're interested in being featured in one of our IG Lives, please send us an email at barsha@volitionadvisors.com. We also have our Amplify youth pitch coming up on October 27th, and also our Young Entrepreneurs Pitch Conference in collaboration with Canadian Small Business Women on November 20th. If you want to learn more about our upcoming events or just to be notified of any events that we have scheduled, please make sure to visit our Eventbrite. So you can see the link on screen right there. Or to make it easier for you, you can just scan the QR code on the screen.
Okay, so this is our first time launching the Buzzit app, Barsha, you and I together. So I see that there's a location access permission thing on screen that's stopping people from being able to vote. Do you happen to know what we're supposed to click for that?
It's saying the same for me, to be honest. I'm just trying to. Are most people on iPhone or like a MacBook where you need to allow the location settings for Buzzit?
This used to happen a long time ago. Paul, do you remember? We apologize. We're in a transition time from our previous event coordinator, and I think this one little piece of information may not have been shared with us.
Yeah, I seem to recall that John would tell everybody to turn on their location services.
Okay.
That's the only other thing I can think of. But it hasn't come up in a long time. I didn't even know it was a
No,
thing,
it's been like a year and a half or 2 years since this happened. So, and I'm assuming John isn't here, unfortunately.
Yeah, because mine is on, but it still won't let me.
Okay. Well, that's odd. And apologies for that.
Barsha, is it on your setup, like your settings for the event in the back end?
The thing is, we have, like Paul and Melanie mentioned, we haven't had this come up before. So I'm trying to just ask John if he could do anything on the back end.
Okay, well, in the meantime, is there anything else that, here, I'm gonna close and then reopen. No, it's not doing anything. All right, so we're asking the founder of Buzzit right now. Again, apologies for that. It's been a few years since this happened, so we don't remember how to make it not do that.
Well, what he used to say was that you have to turn on your location and then close the browser and reopen it, and then it should, but it's not working for me.
Oh, Mike. Okay, so we have some people who it is working for. The QR code worked apparently. Okay, can we get the QR code back on screen and let's see if that works? Oh, it is. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see if this works. Thank you everyone for helping us with this. We will make sure to reconnect with Buzzit and ensure that we know how to deal with this in the future, because it has been a while. All right, so I've gone in, voting is out on. Oh, so, oh no, I can't. Okay. Well, how can we get creative here? It's so much easier when we're in person and we can just do like a vote by clapping or such that we used to do. Unfortunately, John is not answering me. Quick Google form. Wow, look at you all giving these nice suggestions. Yes, that's a great idea. Thank you for that. We are going to do a quick Google form. I'm just trying to think of how to make that work. Okay. Paul, would you like to vamp for a moment?
I didn't have anything lined up. I got no material. Yes. On the spot.
Paul,
Yes.
I can chime in if you want me to.
Sure, please.
I was just gonna say that, this is my first time providing feedback for the Amplify companies, and pretty impressed. They were really good companies. Maybe we can provide some like last comments or any tips, suggestions for everybody in general. I would say, honestly, on my end, just for everybody, every time you pitch, everybody's going to have their own opinions and they're going to want to see certain things from you on your pitch. So just make sure that at the end of the day, you need to filter through a lot of that, like those opinions and feedback, and just what is relevant to you at the stage that you're in. Right? That's very important. And it's good to have someone that's a sounding board for you, that don't take everything exactly as it is. Sometimes people, they might just give you comments or suggestions or ask you questions that just to see what your answer is or your reaction is. So make sure that you filter through all the feedback and what's applicable to you. It's very important. But then, make sure that you just like know your story, and again, like be intentional about what is the key information you want to share with the audience, based on like what you're looking to get out of that pitch, right? So that would be my closing comments for everybody. Everybody did a really good job. I was happy to be part of this today. So thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah, great tips. Yeah, my biggest thing, I heard a couple of the pictures, even though Evelyn and I disagreed a little bit on it, but in terms of the speaking fast thing, I'll just say out loud, actually, a lot of people ask us, well, why 3 minutes? Because it's a lot of information to condense into a short amount of time. And here's the thing is that what I've noticed over the years, though, is that whether it's 3 minutes or it's 5 minutes, people always end up rushing, no matter what. Even if it's 5 minutes long, you get people that still rush through it. And I've seen many pitches where people at the end of 5 minutes are like, it wasn't long enough. I wish I had longer. And it's like, really? I mean, I don't know that that's necessary. But I always say, remember that the storytelling piece is really key a lot of times, and leaving room for breaths and for people to digest the information is also real important. I think also tying back into what Evelyn was saying about being distracted by a fly or whatever, although I thought that was a funny thing to say, but the reality of like giving time for people to digest information, because even though they might be distracted, they might have slightly heard it and they just need a moment to kind of take it in. But if there's no real breaks in the content, and that's one where I've really learned as a teacher, it's important to have those breaks in the content so that your students can have time to learn the info. So I think that's important to pitches. Now, going back to why it's 3 minutes, we did 3 minutes because what we've learned over the years is statistically, through our own research, from other research we found online, is that generally speaking, 3 minutes is how long you have on average with an investor that they'll intently listen to. And within that time, they've already kind of made a decision as to whether they're interested in learning more or not. And what we've discovered is that at the 3 minute mark is where they sort of will say, okay, I'm interested, and they'll start asking their own questions. Or if they're not, they'll be like, yeah, so send me your deck and I'll have a look at it. And it's usually like, yeah, right. And then, or, oh, I'm not investing right now. Sure. Okay. And it's just ultimately that humans are humans and they don't want to create conflict. They don't want to make you feel, people don't want to make people feel bad usually. And so it's sort of just a nice way of saying, yeah, I'm not interested right now. So we've just found over the years, I've found over the years that you have an average of about 3 minutes. And so that's why we went with that number, because we did feel that 90 seconds was kind of too short, generally speaking, to really get across enough info. And then 3 minutes was kind of a good amount based on what we had found. Okay, so it looks like Melanie has created a form. I'm assuming that's also being posted into YouTube for the people there. So make sure you check the Zoom chat in here if you haven't voted already or couldn't vote. There is a quick Google form there. Yeah, and it's interesting because one of the other things that we find as some quick pitch tips is we didn't have it today. It was quite refreshing. Usually we always have at least one that gets on the screen and is very robotic, like, you know, it's almost like they're scared to move because they're in the Zoom box. But like forgetting that you have the area around you and you can move around and express, and energy creates energy a lot of times. So yeah, Ella.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that is so true, and especially now that pitches are happening virtually, like you need to have energy to catch my attention, so I'm not like go on my phone or start googling stuff, because that's what, like, naturally that's what people do, right? Like the attention span, like you said, like with an investor is 3 minutes or so. But yeah, it's challenging to connect with the audience virtually, and so you have to make sure that, you know, you have a good level of energy without being like distracting or being like making me nervous, right, watching you. So some people like to stand up, right, and so they like slow down a little bit, or it depends what your personality is, so you need to practice a lot, period.
Well, one of the great ones I saw was Evelyn, you and I were talking about them this morning, a company called Certicraft, and Sammy from their company, he has like an actual like singing mic that he pitches with, and he stands up, and like one time I was doing a session with him, and he we were joking that he was like Axl Rose up there with his mic and getting ready to pitch. Yeah, so it's good. Energy creates energy. I think it's important to remember. I was also happy to see that nobody pitched like this today.
Oh.
Hello, my name is Paul. You know, the dual screen challenge, right? It's like I just imagine, when I see people do that, I always imagine them in a real life environment on stage, and like on stage being like, hello everyone, my name is Paul. And it's like, I just think it'd be funny. It's like watching a Tool concert.
Yeah, just somewhere else.
Cool. Okay, I don't know. Let me just see here how we're coming along. Oh, looks like we're getting results. So the results are just coming in.
Nice. Good. Yeah, this technology is supposed to make our lives easier, I thought.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul and Evelyn, for all of your expertise that you shared. Really appreciate you taking that on while we were figuring things out. All right. So.
Well, I was going to tell a joke about a crocodile, but I didn't think it'd have any bite. And with that, over to Melanie.
You might have time to tell the joke, Paul. Call it the mid-time break.
I think I did tell the joke.
It did. It was the joke.
I think that was the joke.
It
Wasn't
didn't
that
have
the
a
joke?
bite. Yeah.
It's
Okay,
funny
I get
because
it.
I
I get
always
it
find
now.
there's sort of like a 50-50 in the audience of like 50% go, oh, and then 50, I always get some, but the other 50% are like, I love your jokes, Paul. Oh, I love the dad jokes. Yeah. Anyways. So I'm always
That's
torn.
me.
I don't know. Don't know how to live my life anymore.
Alrighty. All right, we were just having some discussion in the back end because there was a very tight situation going on here. And so I'm just waiting for a thought process. One second. All right. Thank you so much for bearing with us. It's been a while since we had this big of a technical difficulty. And I think we're okay. Alrighty. You're here. And thank you. I saw that some people had to drop off in the audience, but there's still 15 people here, which is amazing. So thank you for staying. And we will make sure to get the news out about who came in top pitch. We're actually going to have a runner up here today as well. As a thank you for bearing with us for the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes as we sorted this, but also because there was a really strong runner up as well. So usually we wouldn't at Amplify, but we wanted to kind of honor that here today. So Paul, do you want to do one of them? Would you like to do the runner up?
Yeah, although I just sent you a message on Slack. Can you just have a quick look at that first?
Yeah.
Okay. So for sticking around with us and bearing with us, we're going to give a session with either Melanie or I away as well to the runner-up. And so that runner-up is EOK Tutor Virginia.
EOK Tutor. Woo!
Elements of knowledge. Elements of knowledge.
Fantastic. Amazing,
Excellent.
amazing, amazing. Elements of knowledge indeed. All right, we'll be in touch with you about your runner-up reward. All right, so our top pitch for today is...
Oh, am I announcing it? Oh, there.
No, sorry, Learn Key.
Learn Key.
I was going to say Hyro's name, and I was like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Learn Key.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Nicely done.
Thank you very much.
I think everybody just wants to see that TikTok dance. I think that's what they're waiting for. Yeah.
They pay extra for that.
It's an add-on service to the new site. Right?
Premium subscription feature.
Amazing.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Hyro, and for being here. Yes, absolutely. It was great to have you here and have you to hear your pitch. It was great to have everyone here. And again, thank you for bearing with us there for that and sticking with us. I would love to see all the faces of our pitchers once again, if we can do so. We've got some coming on. Yeah, voting was very tight between everyone. You all did an amazing job, and we really appreciate you being here. And again, thank you so much to Paul and Evelyn for jumping in with all of your educational bits and pieces. Really appreciate everyone, and we will be in touch. And just congratulations. And thank you to our audience who was very active here today with lots of commentary. So, and to all of the founders who've jumped in and responded to all of those comments and questions and all the things. So thank you to everyone who has made today possible. We really appreciate it. And again, congratulations to everyone who got up and pitched, and congratulations, of course, to our runner-up and to our top pitch as well. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Alrighty, we usually have last words from the feedback panelists, but I feel like they've done that. Above and beyond, gold star. Thank you. All right. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, everyone. And we apologize for the technical issues again. But thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Okay, so we need to stop live streaming, please.